Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:35. And The Who with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
It is going to be cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 74. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield.
Well, look at you back from vacation.
Look at me all refreshed and ready to go.
Are you really feeling that yet?
Yeah, actually I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never come back feeling that good on vacation.
The Pope died.
On Easter Monday.
Didn't J.D. Vance just meet with him the other day?
I think he tried to, but the Pope says, I'm just not up for this.
I thought he did. I thought he sat down with him. Didn't he? He didn't sit down with him?
I think I don't think they actually had a chance to chit-chat.
When the final nail in the coffin. No, man, where's a mascara like that? I gotta go.
Man, what a show today. Not only will we talk all about the passing of Pope Francis with Scott Cohen, but also Madison Curbelo,
yes.
Westfield's very own, from The Voice.
Yeah, there's a big event coming up at the Whip City Animal Sanctuary in May for it's called Groovin' with Garrett. It's a big fundraiser, and she's going to be one of the performers there, so she's coming in to talk about that.
We're also going to have the folks from 52 Sumner in later on today. They got a great show coming up on Thursday. We'll tell you all about that. And we'll give away tickets.
To what?
Don Jovi.
Don Jovi?
Don Jovi. You'll never guess what that show is all about.
The Italian Mafia Bon Jovi? It's Don Jovi. Oh.
John Bon Jovi's Italian.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like the Don. You're gonna wake up with a Richie Sambora head in your bed. How did that? We talked that long that the thing ended.
It's 2 minutes. It's 5:37 Rock 102.
Everyone has a project they want to finish. Sometimes it's a dream.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:50 in Journey with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
It is going to be cloudy and 61 today. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 74. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
If you were hoping that Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner would get back together, first of all, why would you wish that on her? And secondly, what has she ever done to you?
Why should she be punished like that?
You're about to be disappointed. TMZ posted pictures and video of Jennifer outside her home on Saturday walking her boyfriend, John Miller, back to his truck. And she gives him a kiss on the lips before he gets in and leaves. They'd spend the entire day together. And it looks like Ben's out.
You know,
after he thought he was going to get her back after he dropped J-Lo.
You know, the dude has had his chance over and over and over again between her and J-Lo. I think both of them can do a lot better.
Yeah, but this time it was going to be different. It was going to be spectacular.
Yeah, that's the lie that they tell themselves all the time. Like, this is the time.
Yeah.
He's not going to act like a total jerk.
Of course, we heard that at every acting thing he's ever been in. No, this one's going to be the one.
This is the time that I finally get that Oscar.
This is going to be better than Good Will Hunting. How do you like them apples?
Turns out it wasn't.
Yeah. Haley Joel Osment pulled a Mel Gibson during his arrest for public intoxication earlier this month, calling one of the cops an anti-Semitic slur, the one that rhymes with bike.
Don't know that one.
He also called the guy, quote, an effing Nazi, but he was supposedly so wasted that he didn't even know until TMZ released the police footage the other day, and now he's doing some serious damage control. Osmond introduced a statement saying, quote, had I had known I had used this disgraceful language in the throes of a blackout, I would have spoken up sooner. He should get together with Karen Reed.
Yeah.
This is what a blackout is. At least he's admitting that he said it versus, somebody goes, I don't black out. What are you talking about? I would have never have been there.
Never blacked out for 4 or 5 lost days in my life.
He said he's been in a, quote, a very low emotional place. He didn't specifically mention it, but he did lose his home in one of the California wildfires, but he added, quote, that's still no excuse for using that disgusting word. From the bottom of my heart, I apologize to absolutely everyone that this hurts. What came out of my mouth was nonsensical garbage. I've let the Jewish community down, and it devastates me. I don't ask for anyone's forgiveness, but I promise to atone for my terrible mistake.
Well, that's timely.
Yeah.
I see cancellation.
Sooner than later.
I see being doxxed on the internet.
Hayden Christensen. You know who that is?
Yes. That was the kid from the Star Wars movies.
Yeah. He took his share of abuse for how he portrayed Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars prequels, but he's dipped back into the universe a few times, and he's coming back again. He'll play Anakin in Season 2 of the Disney Plus series Ahsoka. The announcement came down at a Star Wars celebration event in Tokyo, where Hayden walked out on stage and said, quote, there's not much I can share, but Anakin will be back for Season 2. Hayden played Anakin on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and appeared in digitally de-aged form a few times during the first season of Ahsoka. So, is that like the only
You're
thing...
Ahsoka in it.
It's the only thing you can ever really do now that you've been a part of that?
Well, I mean...
Like, what did Mark Hamill do other than Star Wars, other than Luke Skywalker?
He sat by the phone and waited for George Lucas's phone call. That's what he did for like 30 years.
I mean, you had all those other successful people. Billy D. Williams. You had Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford did pretty well for himself.
Carrie... what's her
Carrie
name?
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Well, she was in the Austin Powers movie. She was in that.
She was in When Harry Met Sally, and she was...
yeah, I guess you're right.
She married Paul Simon for a little while.
Well, I guess the things turned out okay, but Hayden Christensen was so bad as Anakin Skywalker that people just kind of wanted to move away.
Do you have a favorite Disney villain?
I don't know if I got a favorite villain.
There's a new study based on Google search data from the past year to figure out which villains are the most popular. Scar from The Lion King dominates in the majority of the country. He's followed by Oogie Boogie from The Night Before Christmas in the western states. By the way, I was watching some TikTok video over the weekend. I didn't realize the Hakuna Matata song was sung by the lead singer of Toto. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, they were like, oh, you might recognize this guy, and Toto's on stage, and he starts singing, and it was I don't even know the lead singer's name. What's the lead singer of Toto's name?
David Page?
Maybe.
Steve Lukather?
Maybe it was Steve Lukather. No, who was the guy whose father was John Williams? Which one was that?
I don't know, but I hear he's nice.
It was that kid. It was the kid of the John Williams.
I see.
Yeah.
Joseph Williams. Joseph Williams is the lead vocalist for Toto.
So he also sang the Hakuna Matata song.
That is correct.
All right.
Huh. You think you know a guy.
Ursula from The Little Mermaid closes out the top 3 by being the most popular in only 2 states, Maine and Vermont.
I don't really think this needs to be broken down by geographical constrictions, do you?
No, I don't. Well, that's how they did the poll, though. The survey. Which, by the way, I listened to a couple of podcasts from the Bax, Steve, and Dave show on my long-ass drive on vacation.
Why would you do that?
Just to remind me how bad things once were.
How bad were things at one time?
It was pretty bad. It was very bad. Let's see. Ryan Coogler, hot off the release of his hit movie Sinners, director Ryan Coogler has confirmed that his reboot of The X-Files is the next project he's working on. He says he wants to make it, quote, really effing scary, and he keeps his fingers crossed that Gillian Anderson will return as Dana Scully. Gillian said in a 2024 interview that she's not ruling it out. What else you got going on?
What, are you too busy?
Yeah. I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah,
I haven't had work in 20 years, but I'm not ruling it out.
I'll see if it'll work with my very busy schedule of looking back at those uncashed residual checks.
Kim Kardashian is facing backlash after endorsing a detox tea that allegedly caused dozens of people to be sickened with spontaneous anal regret, if you will.
I see. Well, she must have something to say.
Oh my God, the last time I had that kind of gastro-intentional adventure was when Ray J double-fisted Taco Bell and Ambition before going down on me like a spelunker with a sinus infection in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
I'm so glad you're back from vacation.
It had more splash than the front row at SeaWorld.
What are you trying to say?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Caitlin?
Oh, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but her head once disappeared between my thighs like a malfunctioning Roomba trying to dock itself. It was a reenactment of Pompeii, but the volcano erupted inside my yoga pants.
Now, what are you trying to say?
No, I haven't even gotten that.
You haven't even got that still the same one?
No.
What else happened?
Oh, she was a legal gal, and the only brief she ever filed was the one she left in the dryer too long. Her tongue was clearly making a case for cruel and unusual punishment.
Now what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I once wore a coyote pelt and nipple tassels to a chili cook-off in Reno and still came in second because Christmas took my crotch for the sampling table. It didn't even capture the moment of a piece of cilantro that got lodged in my meat wallet. I spent a lot of time on the beach writing things last week. A lot of time. And that is your Hollywood trash on Rock 102.
This is Mike.
Win in 3 years. Sports is...
And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks in Rock 102 management and our parent company decided to honor my many underwhelming achievements by naming a bathroom after me. It was one of the proudest moments of my career. I've done some of my best work in that bathroom, and I will continue to do so for as long as I'm allowed to stay. Granted, it took me 30 years to get to this point in my career, yet thankfully I have not yet let it all go to my head. Now, while a ceremonial bathroom may not seem like much to you, I happen to be honored and grateful, not just because it reflects my accomplishments, but because it's also so practical. And frankly, not every honor is designed to work that way. For example, former UConn sensation and number 1 WNBA draft pick Paige Beckers has just received notice that her hometown of Hopkins, Minnesota, population 18,296 people, will be temporarily changing its name on May 16th to Paige Beckers, Minnesota, for just one day. Sure, that seems like quite an honor, but it's only for one day, whereas I'll be leaving a piece of me behind in that ceremonial bathroom for many years to come. Listen, not to downplay the efforts of Paige Becker's hometown. After all, I understand how much easier it is for people to use the bathroom and think of this radio show. But if I suddenly happen to be a resident of Paige Becker's, Minnesota, I'm going to be spending the whole day filling out change of address cards, not once, but twice. All my Amazon purchases are going to be seen as undeliverable. And if I'm a DoorDash driver and I got to deliver a bunch of burritos to Paige Becker's on a navigation system that hasn't completed proper updates, I'm going to be in big trouble. So you can keep your one-day change of address. I'll be busy using the bathroom, which proudly bears my name and allows me to give back to Rock 102 what they've given to me for the last 30 years. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You got questions about Scott's four-step? You need to see Lou at the Ludlow Rockies. Lou ran a landscaping outfit for years. He loves talking lawn food, weed control, and anything about yard and garden. Good people like Lou and rock-solid service at every Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic.
Classic rock at 612 and Blue Oyster Cult with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
It's going to be cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 74. It's 36 in downtown Springfield.
Hell of a show today. We got, Scott Cohen, first and foremost, but then we also got Madison Corbello from Westfield, from The Voice.
Yeah, she's going to be doing a big fundraiser out at the Whip City Animal Sanctuary. By the way, $30 dinner and a comedy show this week. It's usually $20, but the extra $10 is going to that Whip City Animal Sanctuary, and we're almost sold out on that.
No
so
kidding.
you might want to get online and get your tickets before they're gone, because there's only we can only cap it off at 100.
Well,
so.
and you're jacking up the price for a good cause. It's not just you're doing it because
Well,
you want to line your pockets.
Well, this very place who takes care of like animals that have, the owners can't take care of them anymore, things like that. That place is actually hosting this giant Groovin' with Garrett fundraiser. That I believe one of the goats is going to play bass.
There's a bass playing goat.
Oh yeah. There's going to be all kinds of bands.
That's a hell of a show, right there.
And so that'll be happening later on this morning. We will talk about the Pope, who unfortunately passed away either yesterday or today.
It's Monday, and I don't know the difference of time zones between us and the Vatican, but it's significant enough for it to have been called Monday.
Yes. So the Pope Francis has passed away at the age of 88, which makes you think, how much time do you really have left?
It's a tough job when you think about it. Like, there's never a part of your day when you're not the Pope. I mean, we'll talk more about this in depth later, but it ain't an easy job being the Pope.
But I went to South Carolina last week, like I usually do every April, and went down to Hilton Head Island and got to see the practice. We'll talk about this with the big fat phony Scott Cohen coming in after 7:00. What a place I felt like I didn't belong. I've never really. I mean, there's been plenty of places where I felt I didn't belong, but that place was a place I felt like I don't really belong here.
Yeah, you're more of like a par 3 or a municipal course type of guy.
And I did get to see Scotty Scheffler up close, which was
close?
Probably, I don't know. I'd probably say about 15 yards away.
That's pretty close.
Well, because it was the practice thing. We went to the practice schedule,
right?
Because there was no way we could afford the actual tickets for the tournament. This was like the day before this tournament started, and they were all out there practicing. So you got to see all these PGA guys and whatnot. It was kind of cool to see it on TV, to see it in person versus on TV, because on TV it looks so much bigger, but when you're actually standing there, it really doesn't look as big. Although you see the big giant, like, hole number 8, at the big sign at the end.
I remember going to the GHO years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the opening round. I think it may have been the opening round now that I'm thinking about it. And, you're like in between things, guys are like practicing and stuff like that. And it's like, man, you see how good they are just practicing.
Yeah.
It makes you want to just take your golf clubs and toss them in a lake and never play again.
And that's the point. I don't even play golf. But again, I always like to get the experience of seeing something, in the professional level.
Sure.
I mean...
Well, because you're never going to experience anything like that here.
Well, this links down there, it was just like being at East Mountain Country Club in Westfield.
I was thinking more like Fenway golf, like when you're playing on them stone structures.
The grass isn't as green at Fenway, but it's still pretty comparable.
Pretty close.
Yeah, but it was actually pretty neat to see, and you got to see all these I don't know who they are. I mean, I know who Scotty Scheffler is, but I don't know. I wouldn't know these people.
Well,
I would have to Google them to find out what they looked like.
You're not a big golf watching fan.
No, I don't.
If you're watching it every weekend, it's kind of like you get to know it's like the same group of guys week after week for the most part.
The concessions I thought were actually pretty reasonable for a place like that. They had I didn't get anything, but you could see like the beers were only like $10, and like a cheeseburger was like $11, which is, I mean, it's seemingly expensive, but for a big giant tournament like that,
if you went to a restaurant like a high end burger place, you're paying at least $15 for that burger and the same amount for the beer.
And I didn't get a T-shirt because those were $80. That's the other thing about these like pro things that you go to. They're like, the swag. It's the same T-shirt that GG Inks prints up for us for Rock 102, and they're nowhere near $80 a piece.
If we could squeeze $80, out of people for our T-shirts.
Yeah.
We'd sell them all the time.
It's just
instead we give them away for free because that's approximately the cash value that they're worth when the moment you put a Rock 102 logo on them.
Yeah, it's just the idea to say, hey, I went to the Heritage Tournament in Hilton Head Island, and you can't drive in there. You got to take a shuttle. They don't let anybody who doesn't live there drive in that area. You have to take a shuttle, which was like 20 minutes away.
But how many people do you think were actually buying stuff on that merch table? Probably quite a lot.
Well, I mean, and we were only there the day of the practice. We weren't even there the day, the tournament started on Thursday.
Yeah, that $80 shirt all of a sudden becomes like a $120 the following day.
Yeah, but beautiful course. I mean,
Of course it is.
But that thing must get trampled on by all those people walking there all weekend long.
Well, but they're not walking on the playing surfaces. You're not walking on the greens. You're not walking on the fairways. You're walking on the sides. They got these things, cordoned off pretty easy, pretty clearly.
And again, we'll talk a little bit more about it with Scott Cohen because he's a big fat phony, and he would have fit right in there. I was waiting for to see a guy with a tattoo of a martini on his arm that said Hilton Head Island on it, but I didn't. But I didn't see that.
Well, he'll be in here in about an hour.
But I did stop at the Buc-ee's.
Yeah, what did you do? You gave me like a Buc-ee sour.
Yeah, they're Buc-ee's sugar-free sours. They're orange mints, and they taste just like St. Joseph's baby aspirin.
I'll tell you what, when you gave me one, I could already feel how it was going to prevent me from having a heart attack or stroke.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I already feel better.
Yeah, but I got a little taste of the different truck stops along the way. Mm-hmm. Did you see my picture with Porky's?
I did.
Yeah, I didn't go in there.
Why not?
Because it was just
because you were with your kids.
Yeah, it was a little too. It was a little too. I mean, you could just tell by looking at it from the outside that it wasn't like a very inviting place to be.
But the food was probably really good.
I didn't have the food either. I'm sure it was delicious, but I didn't try any of it. That was at south of the border. That was that big playland that they have down there with the big sombrero and the racist. You never sausage a place, little Mexican guy, and there. Oh, it's alive and well down in the south.
It never ends. Sure. Never ends.
But I had a chicken sandwich from Buc-ee's, which was their big thing is the brisket sandwich, which I had last time, but I didn't think it was that great. The chicken sandwich though kind of blew that away.
Really?
Yeah.
And yet the brisket sandwich is what it's known for.
Right. And then I think I had a breakfast sandwich from a Wawa, which was always pretty good.
Yeah.
But the best breakfast sandwich was from the Sheets.
I have been to the Sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I'll tell you what, of all the gas station sandwiches you can have in the world, I would trust the Sheets more than some of the other Shinola that you may have had.
That's what I'm saying. It was actually a very good, it was very much set up like a Wawa. You go in, you push the kiosk, and you order the food.
Cleanly, too.
Very clean. Clean as bathrooms.
I've been to some gas station bathrooms I wouldn't even step in, never mind you actually use. But the Sheets, you can actually lick the floor and not get something.
The Buc-ee's was pretty clean, but then it wasn't so good on the way back. They were like out of soap, and I had to go to another section of the bathroom to wash my hands and that kind of thing. But the Sheets was very clean, and the food, I had a breakfast sandwich on a pretzel bun. Which, that's good. See, those are like in Pennsylvania area, and we took 95 down,
right?
But on the way back, there was all these. I knew there was all these protests going on throughout the country. So to drive through D.C. or Baltimore or New York area, that probably wasn't a good idea. So I did this. It's like 2 extra hours, but at least you're moving. You go up like I-81. That. I went through Gettysburg. I went right through Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and I didn't see Abe Lincoln anywhere.
Well, he hasn't really been there in a good long time.
But what a beautiful country that is.
Oh, it's breathtaking.
Yeah,
it's absolutely breathtaking. And so was the Sheets.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, that was the highlight of that trip.
Wow,
the Sheets.
Most people when they tell you about their vacation or like show you slides or pictures on their phones, they never really give you like like a carousel gallery of great rest stops and gas stations.
Yeah.
Unlike you, where that's like the
highlight of the trip. We were playing road bingo. We had those road bingo cards. Here's what I didn't. Here's those cards need to be updated because they're a little outdated. Show a lot lizard on the card. I would have won the game had there had been a lot lizard on the thing, because as soon as we pulled into the sheets, I'm like, there's the lot lizard.
They were all there, huh?
They were all there, walking around. I would have covered all the cards.
Massachusetts. I've got a sister that spends a lot of time in a place called Mingles.
Yeah.
Ever hear of it?
I love Mingles. Massachusetts, one if by land, two if by sea. The letter C.
Octua by sea.
Yeah, I like that. The British are coming, and so am I. But yeah, it was a successful trip, and the highlight of the trip was the truck stops, not the beautiful beach with
the breathtaking golf course.
Yeah, no, it was the sheets.
It's 624 on Rock 102.
Listener.
It's 627 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Liam Neeson has the full forecast for you. He will tell you, and he will find you.
This week on Baxy's Musical Podcast, my guest is Christian Dryden, the lead singer, bass player, and songwriter for the band The Ritualists. Their brand new album, their third one, comes out tomorrow, called Too Pure to Cure. It's awesome, and that interview is available right now on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, and all the Rock 102 digital platforms. And it's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
Are you ready to laugh?
I'm ready to laugh.
Let's laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
So Pope Francis checks his calendar over the weekend and starts yelling at his secretary. A meeting with J.D. Vance? That's the last thing I want to do.
You write this yourself?
No, I saw it on the internet.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Here's your
632 with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Gary Rome Hyundai. Technicians get up to a $5,000 sign-on bonus right now. Learn more at GaryRomeHyundai.com/family. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. 2 individuals have been arrested in Connecticut following an investigation in which 30 mistreated animals were seized and several dead animals were found in a freezer. Connecticut State Police said that at approximately 5:18 p.m. on Wednesday, troopers received a report of an active disturbance at a home in Sterling. Upon arrival at the residence, troopers identified 22-year-old Oscar Denoyers. My abuser has a first name. It's Oscar. He also has a last name. It's Denoyer. Who had an active search warrant and was arrested without incident. At approximately 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, 56-year-old Kelly Denoyers of Sterling turned herself in on an active arrest warrant connected to the same investigation. This investigation began in February 2025 when the Connecticut Animal Control received a report of an animal hoarding situation at a Sterling residence. The 1,500-square-foot home reportedly contained over 20 dogs and other animals. ACO attempted several well-being checks on the residence but didn't get an answer when knocking on the door. The home was found to belong to Kelly, and according to the Sterling Town dog licensing, there were no dogs licensed to her and her address. You telling me you got all these dogs here, but not one license?
What, did they come with a house?
Oh, it was in the description. On March 5th, Connecticut troopers served a search and seizure warrant of the home. The pets were found to be living in extremely neglectful conditions with no visible food or water, and dogs stacked 3 to 4 crates high.
Jesus.
Animal waste and flies were all over the home. This is like the guy up in Sturbridge.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
This is now the second one in the last 30 days or so?
Yeah.
What's going on with these people?
Troopers seized 6 kittens, 2 guinea pigs, 5 rats, 1 goat, some cats and rats and elephants, as sure as you were born.
What about that unicorn?
Nope. 1 pony, and 1 bearded dragon. Not the Kim Kardashian bearded dragon.
No, it's a lizard.
Yeah. 1 chicken, 1 rooster, 2 pot-bellied pigs, and 14 dogs.
Now, are they all in the house? Or just on the property?
But still, they had all those dogs inside the house. 2 guinea pigs and 3 cats were also found deceased inside a freezer, and 1 squirrel was found dead inside of a home. God. Kelly Desnoyers was charged with 35 counts of animal cruelty, and Oscar was charged with 40 counts of animal cruelty. Both were released on a court-set $20,000 bond and are unable to own or care for any animal. They weren't able to do that without a court order, so I don't know how they're going to do that now.
Yeah, boy.
I didn't do the top story because I just did the joke about it. But Pope Francis,
and you didn't
died.
want to seem to be insensitive of any, of course.
Yeah. Pope Francis died Monday, history's first Latin American pontiff who charmed the world with his humble style and concern for the poor, but alienated conservatives with critiques of capitalism and climate change. Francis, who suffered from chronic lung disease and had part of 1 lung removed as a young man, was admitted to Gemelli Hospital on February 14th for a respiratory crisis that developed into double pneumonia. He spent 38 days there, the longest hospitalization of his 12-year papacy. The Vatican is preparing for the first rituals following his death. The body of the Pope is expected to be transferred within the course of the day to the chapel of the Domus Santa Marta Hotel, where he lived. He lived in a hotel?
My understanding he was such a humble man that he didn't want to live in like the Pope's house in the Vatican. I believe he stayed at a quality inn.
Yeah.
That had continental breakfast.
I'm picturing more of the Seekonk Motor Lodge.
I don't know. I don't know for sure, but 88.
Yeah, makes you think.
It does.
There, the head of Vatican Health Service examines the body, ascertains the cause of death, and writes a report which is expected late today. The body rests in the Pope's personal chapel for the ritual pronouncement of death, presided over by the Carmilangelo, the Vatican official who runs the Holy See administration between the death or resignation of one pope and the election of another. For the public, the Cardinal Archpriest of St. Peter's Basilica, Cardinal Mauro Gambetti, is expected to lead a recitation of the Rosary Prayer in St. Peter's Square late today. And they go on and on about all the different things that are going to be happening today. You know, I could read this and it would take up
it'd take
15
up the whole
minutes
day.
Thing, but here you go.
Pope Benedict, still the oldest one ever, 95 years old before he finally died.
Yeah. I'm interested in how this whole thing works because I can't remember. I remember who was the other one that died.
Well, Pope Benedict, stepped down.
Right, but the guy before him,
John Paul II,
he died.
Yeah,
I don't.
John Paul I died after a month.
I mean, luckily it doesn't happen that often that you remember all the things that go along with it.
By the way, the process of replacing a pope is still very much shrouded in mystery. Just because there was that film Conclave that came out, I don't know how accurate that is really going to be because no one really knows, and the Cardinals are very, very quiet about this whole thing.
Well, I'm
sure there's a lot of political jockeying going on. There's a lot of all of that. You're never supposed to say, "Hey, I want to become the next pope," because at that point, everyone says that guy ain't ever going to be the next pope.
I mean, right now, let's see, where are they?
Is there a Cardinal fantasy league out there somewhere?
Well, I was going to say they're 9-13. I mean, they're not really doing that great right now.
9-13.
The Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's an average of 409.
Yeah, that's a little bit below. But it's early in the season. They haven't even hit the All-Star break yet.
Well, maybe when they hit the All-Star break, though, the Cardinals will do a lot better. Local dispensaries were busier than usual yesterday. The 420 fell on Easter and the last day of Passover, which is like the perfect time.
Were a lot of them open for business yesterday? There was no.
I was
they didn't take break. I was surprised by how many things were open yesterday.
Listen, well, yesterday First of all, I was so tired from driving all that time. I got home Saturday afternoon, and I slept like a log all night long. And then I finally got up yesterday and I went to the grocery store that was open at 7 o'clock in the morning, which I was surprised, the Stop and Shop.
Right.
But had to get some food anyway. And then later on in the day, I took the kids over to Mr. Whippy's golf. That place was open.
Mr. Whippy's was open?
Mr. Whippy's was open. The batting cages and the golf swings and the mini golf and the go-karts and all that stuff. So we hung out there for a little while. Walmart was open.
Wow.
The auto parts I needed. I was like I'm gonna. I had to bring a battery, like a lawnmower battery back or exchange it. But get a new one.
Sure.
So I'm like, I don't think the auto parts store is going to be open. No, Advanced Auto Parts was open till 6.
I'll be damned. They had the battery you were looking for?
Yeah, they did.
I'll be done.
I couldn't call the battery boys for that job, but I was surprised that they were open. But I guess nobody closes anymore.
I'll tell you, we had our Easter dinner at a traditional restaurant yesterday. Cal's in West Springfield.
Yeah,
Riverdale Street was loaded with people. Loaded with people.
Yeah,
By the way, I had a delicious pork chop yesterday at Cal's.
Oh, did you?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure all the workers there were like, yeah, we got to work on Easter Sunday. Well, this schlub comes in here and enjoys his pork chop.
We were not the only ones with that idea.
That's
that place was jammed. In fact, there was a line out the door at Cal's. Line out the door. At least we had the wherewithal to have a reservation.
Obviously you're much older than I am.
Much.
But when you were a kid, nothing was open on. The only thing that was open was church.
That was it. And they weren't providing much in the way of meals.
When did they start doing breakfast on Sundays? Because I don't remember going to breakfast on a Easter Sunday.
Well, you got to understand, back in the day, everything was closed every Sunday. And then, because there were some laws that prevented certain businesses from being up. Like you couldn't go to a Packy on a Sunday. You always had to plan ahead.
Yeah.
If you knew you were going to run out of booze on a Saturday afternoon, you had to stock up for Sunday
because of the blue laws.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they lifted a lot of those things, and now everybody's out.
And now you got the weed dispensaries are open, ready to rock and roll. Places like the Fine Fettle in West Springfield welcome in several crowds throughout the day, offering deals and some free items.
Yeah, well,
here's the He Is Risen strain. I have a little problem with it. I saw a church on Saturday that said He Is Risen, and I'm like, not yet. You can't put that sign out until Sunday.
Yeah, it's a little presumptuous, but
that's like saying the tag sale's going on now. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not going on until the day that you actually have the tag sale.
I know. People like to work ahead, and that's what you get.
Data shows that people of all ages were taking part in the recreational marijuana. According to the National Institutes of Health, cannabis uses among adults is up between the ages of 50 and 64. How about that?
It's not that surprising.
Between 2012 and 2021, cannabis use tripled among that age group.
That's the age group where people start feeling the lousiest. They begin to start feeling bad, like health-wise. It's also a population where weed was fantastic back in the 80s.
I gave it up.
You gave it up?
It's been since Christmas was the last time I had some.
Nobody respects a quitter, Steve.
Well, my health does.
Well,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Have you picked up any other bad habits?
I had planned. I'm like, I'm gonna maybe on vacation I'll partake again.
Yeah.
But I made it through the whole week, and I didn't even need to. I didn't even bring any with me. I just went and enjoyed the time off.
See, I can't even tell you the last time I had any, and even like right now, I've never been more sober than I am right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you!
I know. Isn't it crazy? It's almost been a year since I've had a drop of booze.
Well, look at you!
I know. I didn't have to go through any programs or anything. Just said, I'm done.
Well, that was mostly because of the court order, but that's a...
Well, there was that, and also the fact
You have
that...
to go get tested every and you know, blowing into that thing in your dashboard.
Yeah, and the AFib wasn't being supported by any of those things. So I'm clean and sober.
I told you,
never been cleaner.
That was my favorite anti-drunk driving message, where the guy's like picking his kids up from school.
Oh yeah,
and the kids get in the car. Hey kids, how was school? Good, Dad. Hang on 1 second. Or he's going on a date.
Yeah, right.
Date. Well, first of all, why would the date stay in the car after you saw that?
Probably out of courtesy because you're like,
I don't know. I mean, she gives him the look, but she's not jumping. I would have jumped right out of the car if I saw that.
Let's just
that
say
just says problems all over it.
Perhaps there may be a very strong likelihood that the second date never actually takes place as a result of that, and among other things.
But I'm saying, as soon as she saw that, you know, they let her sit in the car like she's ready to go with him on the date, even after he blew into the breathalyzer test. That would be a deal breaker.
Can I call you?
Yeah. If I ever got into a car with a chick and she had to blow into something other than what I would want, you know, if she had to blow into a tube to get the car going,
well,
that would be... it's time for me to leave.
Can you really judge a book by its breathalyzer?
Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can.
See, I'd be more willing to judge based upon the blood alcohol content that precipitated the installation of that device.
It's the alcoholic Dewey Decimal System. You're a .04. Well, that means you haven't really read up to the next level yet. When you get to .08, that's when I'm out. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be cloudy with a high of 61 tomorrow. Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 74. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah. Down Springfield.
The Rock 102 Golf Club is back, brought to you by Swing Oil Beer. Get 7 rounds of golf, including cart, no day or time restrictions. Some of the area's great courses like Keeney Park, Brattleboro, Northampton Country Club, and more. $129. It's less than $20 a round. It's a great deal. You can get yours today at rock102.com. Brought to you by Swing Oil Beer. Try their new New England IPA. Perfect for the golf course. And Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
Would you like to hear, how about you rip into the old mailbag, Baxie?
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today.
Wow!
Oh, letters. I like your letters. Let's find out to say. Oh, boy. Mailman,
ding dong.
Mail today.
A couple of different things here.
A couple of different letters?
What? No, just one letter.
Okay.
But when you're writing, this came to me on Saturday afternoon at 3:22 p.m. We are not on the air. I mean, the radio station is, but this show, there was no best of. You know, last week we had the best of things you were playing.
Right.
But so I can understand how somebody might think that is going on live, but it wasn't even that. It was on a Saturday at 3:22 p.m. And I get this email from this guy who says, do we have to, all of course in the subject line of the email.
Really?
So it wasn't even like a letter. It was just
a subject.
Do we have to listen to the dumb remarks during the news? Save your comedy for your act. Just do the news and shut up. We don't need your attempt to be funny about someone on your show.
Okay.
Has this guy, and that's it. That was the end of the
That was
letter.
it.
Have you ever listened to this show? Do you know that
He
that's
probably
what we
has.
do?
This is my guess, Steve.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying this is because it's happened where we commented on a story
He
knows somebody involved in the story, or it may have been him. It could have. You just never know.
I don't get people who don't understand what this is about. We're not news reporters. We're idiots, and we make jokes about things. It's a comedy program.
Yeah,
it's an entertainment program.
That's what we've been hired to do.
We do talk about serious things now and then, but for the most part, it's pee-pees and wee-wee jokes.
I told you a few years ago, I was at the fort minding my own business with my good time friends and my cousins.
Yeah.
And there was some woman in the bar. I'm not going to get into a lot of the details here, but she was in the bar.
I wish you could get into the details of that one.
Because the details are hilarious. But nevertheless, apparently, she says out loud at the bar, "You ruined my life." Apparently, she was the subject of a news story that we had done many years ago. And I thought I came up with maybe one of the best lines I'd had in 15 years at the time. I would just like to point out that I was not the one who ruined your life.
I believe your actions ruined your life.
Yeah, I
that
believe
you took that day.
I believe Jack Daniels ruined your life.
Right.
Not me. It was not me. I was not the one, but it might have been Jim Beam or Dr. McGillicuddy who may have been at fault.
I also remember being in the delivery room for my second child, where there was a nurse in there,
right?
Who once she found out what was going on, like who I was, part of the old show, right? She just went, "Oh, yeah, I don't listen to them." And then she goes into the story about how it was somebody her son was friends with, and there was some kind of I don't even remember what the circumstances of the story was, but she was none too happy, and I'm like, well, this is a great person to have at your bedside.
Yeah, especially since you're talking about the birth of one of your daughters.
Yeah.
What a perfectly good time for her to mess things up.
Meanwhile, my poor wife's in the stirrups and everything, and she's like, can we talk about something else right now? Hello.
It's me.
Over here.
This is my day.
This is about me. But I just, you're right. This guy probably had somebody that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And he got mad that we either made fun of him or somebody else. And I don't even recognize his name.
Well, I'm going to give people a bit of advice. Bit of advice. Okay, so, we do what we do because it's the thing that we were hired for.
Yeah.
If you are looking to prevent us from making fun of you or someone you love, the best way to fight that would not be through an email, but to stop doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
If you could just avoid that, we wouldn't be talking about you. We'd have to find something else or somebody else to talk about.
That not being a dink thing extends beyond open lines.
Without question.
Don't be a dink in general. Well, I don't know. Maybe he'll, hey, you know what? You can always get softer news on the Kellogg Group.
That's softer than a good old fashioned throw pillow.
Oh, that's softer than somebody who forgot to take their ED medication at the age of 75.
It's 6:56 on Rock 102.
Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Well, folks, the NBA playoffs are underway, and already the Boston Celtics are off to a commanding start, beating the Orlando Magic in Game 1 by a score of 103-86. Having completed all the strenuous mathematical equations, that's a difference of 17 points, many of which were scored by Derek White, who finished the game with 30 points. Now, I can sit here and break down the whole thing for you as you get set for Game 2 on Wednesday night. I got to sit here and get you all worried about Jason Tatum hurting his wrist in the fourth quarter, but he's going to be just fine. But I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff because the 103-86-point win was a pretty close game compared to some of the other dumpster fires that occurred yesterday. For example, just hours after the Celtics smoked Orlando in Game 1 in the Eastern Conference matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder were busy disemboweling the shockingly unprepared Memphis Grizzlies in Game 1 for their Western Conference matchup by a score of 131 to 80. Again, having done some quick calculations, that's a difference of 51 points. Just a mere 7 points shy of the sickest blowout in NBA playoff history. In fact, it has only happened 5 other times since 1956 when a team lost a playoff game by 50 points or greater, and the Memphis Grizzlies just became team number 6. Now, I know that Oklahoma City is a vastly better team than the Memphis Grizzlies. Everybody knows that. What I didn't know is that the Memphis Grizzlies were quite aware of that too, and that would explain why they were just beaten by 51 points. With Game 2 coming up tomorrow night, I would think Memphis will be looking for ways to either not lose by 51 points or not show up at all. Ironically, this comes 4 years after Memphis beat Oklahoma City by 73 points for the biggest lopsided win of all time. Man, things have changed as the Grizzlies are now on the muddy end of the stick when it comes to a sloppy NBA blowout. I almost can't wait to see tomorrow night's train wreck, since that's likely to be pretty damn ugly too. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Benjamin Moore. Ever hear of them? Of course you have. It's America's most famous paint, and for good reason too. May not be the cheapest paint, but it's super premium paint. And once in a while, Rocky's has a special deal. Like right now, get 20% off Benjamin Moore interior paint at Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:09 in the Rolling Stones with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 74. It's 36 right now in downtown Springfield.
And he's in the studio right now to give a runner-by-runner breakdown of the Boston Marathon. It's Scott Cohen.
I think, oddly enough, a Kenyan could win the marathon today.
I'm going on a limb and say Kenya gets boxed out by the Ethiopians. That's
God,
what I'm
those
going for.
Ethiopians, I hate those guys.
I hate nobody. All I know is there's a very good shot that one or the other is going to win.
You know what? I was listening to the All Sports radio station on my way in. You know, they're out of Boston.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
I'm the one. And they referred to this weekend, counting today, this past weekend and today. If the weather cooperates, is really one of the best weekends in New England. The Celtics are more often than not involved in the NBA playoffs. The Red Sox are home at Fenway Park. You have the 11 o'clock baseball game today, and then the marathon, and it's just like it's the whole. All eyes in New England are focused on the city of Boston, especially today.
Well, you know, and you know, the marathon being what it is, and how the city does kind of shut down a little bit.
Oh yeah,
to a greater or lesser degree. But I think you're right. I mean, if they've scheduled it so it's possible to do everything in a day.
Yep.
Like you could watch the marathon and then, you know, go to Fenway and then watch and deal with that. I wouldn't run the marathon and then sit at a Red Sox game.
I wouldn't do that either. I was actually with a buddy of mine yesterday. We were watching the Red Sox, the end of the Red Sox game, and then the Celtic game at Fitzwillies up in Northampton. And how about this, Baxy? You can go to the Red Sox game, get out, go down to Kenmore Square, see, you know, the regular people, you know, finishing up the marathon, and then go to a Celtic game at the Garden that night.
Ooh.
So you can actually and I know you'd be all over that.
Oh yeah.
No, Steve limits his viewing of professional sports to golf. Because he is a big fat phony.
My friend bought tickets to this the practice of that Heritage tournament down at the Harbor Links golf course in Hilton Head, and I talk about a place where I just didn't belong.
Yeah. You know,
at all. I have no business being in not
even close.
These stuck-up snobs at this golf course with the, you know. And you're walking in there, and everything's too nice.
Yeah,
it's just not my.
People are dressed well. They're behaving themselves.
I'm more of a mini golf.
Yeah, you kind of are. With the the pirate ship.
I was looking.
If you got a windmill or an elephant's legs to shoot through.
I was looking around though for a guy like yourself. and
they were everywhere
with a tattoo of a martini that
on
said
his
Hilton
arm
head on it, but it didn't. I didn't see anybody.
So I'm sitting. So it was like last week. I'm sitting there minding my own, GD business, and I was probably at my desk working, which is what I usually do.
You're not working.
And then the phone buzzes, and I look down, and Chuckles over here sends me a picture text from the practice round at the PGA.
Scheffler.
And I'm just like, of Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is he doing there?
What is he doing in my sport?
He's ruining golf.
He's ruining golf. No,
but
I gave you the big fat phony.
Yeah.
Reply,
well,
so.
they're all a bunch of big fat phonies down there. And here's the thing that I found out: all the people that work there are volunteers. And so, because my nephew lives down there. I have family that lives down there. That's why we usually go down there every year. And he said he's doing it next year. He's going to be a volunteer and I said, oh, that's kind of cool. So you get to see the whole tournament. He goes, yeah, you have to pay to be a volunteer.
You have to pay to be a volunteer.
I was like, you're a volunteer. That's not a volunteer. You're volunteering to give up your money in order. You have to pay like at least $150.
You pay $150 something like that, and you get the uniform, you get the shirt.
That's not volunteering.
Well, it's really funny, and I know we're kind of off tangent here, but that has really been one of my big pet peeves about the PGA Tour is the fact that they're always talking about all the money, quote, they raise.
Right.
Basically what they do, they come to town, the Bank of America or the Heritage RBC, I think it's Royal Bank of Canada, that's what that is. They put up the prize money and the local JCs get all their people together. They basically put the tournament on. People pay their money to go to the tournament, and that's what raises the money for charity. The PGA Tour just shows up and they play.
Yeah.
That money's not coming out of their pocket.
No, of course not.
It's all done on the local level.
Do you remember a few years ago? I'm sure you remember this because I'm sure you were down there covering it when the Ledges hosted that LBGA, the U.S. Open. I think it was the Ledges.
The Orchards.
The Orchards, that's what it was.
In South Hadley.
Orchard. Right, that's what
2004.
It was. Do you remember, because I remember we sent one of our people on staff to that event, and I remember them coming back and explaining what they had to go through just to be there, and how media and publicity unfriendly the LPGA was, and then some people saying, oh, that ain't nothing. You should see how the PGA operates. And it is very much like that. It's no wonder where people see golf as kind of like an elitist type of sport because they've created that mystique. Both the men and the women's fields have done that over the years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And it's really funny that you brought that up. One of the things that when the Friendlies Classic was at Crestview, which is just a regular LPGA event. The U.S. Open is USGA, which is one of the majors. But anyway, the guys that were the biggest pains in the butt? The caddies of these LPGA women giving the media people attitude. And I'm looking at this guy. It's like, bud, we're here for the carnival, and you're giving us a friggin' hard time.
Yeah,
crazy.
But that's how it operates. And
that's how it operates.
And it's not just exclusive to the men or women. It's both.
It is. I guess it's kind of just like anything else, but maybe a little bit more along what you're talking about. There's always the good ones and the bad ones, the friendly ones and the unfriendly ones. But yeah, it's just like, look, we're here. We're giving this thing free publicity, and you're giving us a hard time.
Basically, it's a bunch of golf nerds getting together to go watch. Golf nerds would be the only ones that would actually pay to volunteer at a course like that.
I've got a buddy of mine who goes to the U.S. Men's Open every year. He'll actually buy a plane ticket to fly to Pinehurst. They had it in North Carolina. To volunteer.
Because
that's what he does.
He's a dope. You're spending that kind of money, you're still paying to watch it.
He loves it. He loves it. And he always cheeses on one of his buddies who lives in the area to stay in the spare bedroom. It's his thing.
I know.
It's his thing.
It's one of these big fat phonies.
Big fat phony shows.
And they're all getting together, and you can see all these business guys getting together, and they're like, I went down to Augusta to see the other one.
Smoking cigars, drinking too much.
Bourbon and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's what a bunch of...
But on the other hand, that's why people love like John Daly when he was at his prime, because all you need to do is have a flask or a couple of shots of schnapps, and he'd be happy to talk to anybody.
Very hilarious, man.
Great guy.
Arnold Palmer is iced tea and lemonade. At John Daly, you throw the vodka on top of it.
That's it.
And there was one lady. You could tell like there's one lady. I think it was what was his name? Was it Kim? Maybe. No, McNeely. This golfer McNeely.
Okay.
And this lady is watching him, hit the ball, off the tee. It was obviously all a practice round. But this lady is yelling to him afterwards, "Hey, it's me. Stevie got the video of you. We're gonna text it to you later." Like, had to let everybody know that she was friends somehow
that's ridiculous.
with this guy. And he's like, "Yeah, okay, thanks. I appreciate it." Like he could have cared less about this lady. Yeah.
Steve, I have the video of you. I'll text it to you later.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track here.
Okay.
This week is also the NFL draft. The Patriots are now the number 4 pick, and everyone is saying that that it appears as though they're zeroing in on Will Campbell.
Will Campbell.
Now, the knock on this kid is that his arms are too short.
Yes.
Now, I've seen the guy's arms, and while they may not necessarily be the knuckle dragging type of lineman that you might expect, he's still a damn fine player, and they're very, very high on this kid.
They're talking Baxi. I mean, we've all heard the arm. The short arm thing, right? Yeah. And they're talking, it's like a half an inch, as if that is, sometimes a half an inch can be a lot.
He can still zip up his pants. He can still wipe himself. He can still reach things off the top shelf.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure
I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. But but I mean, the big conversation with them is what are they going to do with the number 4 pick? I mean, I brought my Boston Globe in, which Sunday Globe, which I subscribe to. So listen to this. Quoting now, next issue for the Patriots is sorting out offensive tackle. Campbell, who we mentioned, Armand Membu, Kelvin Banks, and Josh Simmons. Every single one of those are the top 4 linemen in the draft. And guys, the Mel Kipers of the world and the football experts, every single football expert has a different player ranked number 1 on his list. So Will Campbell is not even considered by some guys to be the top college offensive lineman available. And the conversation right now is the Patriots were sitting here, who are they going to pick at number 4? In Patriot fashion, Bax, I would not be surprised if they traded down and they don't even use the number 4 pick, and they could still get one of those linemen that I mentioned. It might not be Campbell, but it could be one of those 4, and people think that each of them are interchangeable.
I would be fine if they traded down as long as they got something of real value as a result of it.
That's what they need. They need an offensive lineman. They spent a lot of money in the offseason on defensive pieces. They've got their quarterback. They need help on the offensive line. That's their need, quote unquote.
And the Celtics they're off to a great start.
They look great.
The wrist injury from Tatum
doesn't seem to be a big deal.
He'll be fine by Wednesday. But they nice big easy 17-point blowout. And the thing I like about the Celtics is it even if on a night where Jason Tatum is only scoring 17,
right?
You've got guys stepping up all over the place, and they've proven that over like the last month where their bench players are playing better than everybody else. I mean, it's such a solid, well-rounded team.
Yep. Every NBA team has like their 2 top guys, okay? And we'll say that, Tatum and Jaylen Brown are our top 2 guys. The Celtics 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are better than any NBA teams 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They're primed to go to the conference final. probably against Cleveland. They'll be the top 2 seeds. Actually, over the weekend, the only big surprise was the Lakers losing at home.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of went according to plan.
Well, the thing about it is, so it's the playoffs, and you can say, well, Cleveland had such a great season. They did. So did Oklahoma City. But when it comes to the playoffs, all that kind of
all bets are off.
All bets are off. And you know what? I like the Celtics.
I do.
Not just because I'm being a homer, but I think in a 7-game series it could go either way, and I like the fact that the Celtics have that much depth on their team.
I don't think
which some teams absolutely don't have.
They don't have, and Joe Mazzulla's kind of like mindset and game plan all year was not winning the conference number 1 seed was not their goal. He rested guys big time along the way, even when they weren't necessarily completely hurt. But they're primed and ready to go. Everybody appears to be, for the most part, healthy.
All right, so we'll see who wins the Boston Marathon today and who the Patriots pick, and we'll talk about that next Monday.
That's what we got.
All right, very good.
See you, phony.
See you, big fat phony. I haven't had to use that against you in a while.
Right. There's a lot of dead cats going on around here.
Oh,
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, there are, always are.
It's 7:23 on Rock 102. 7:30 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. If you're thinking about a new walk-in shower system, call Yankee Home and mention Rock 102. Get $1,021 off plus 50% off installation all month long. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Pope Francis has died, history's first Latin American pontiff who charmed the world with his humble style and concern. Francis, who suffered from chronic lung disease and had part of one lung removed as a young man, was admitted to Gemelli Hospital on February 14th for a respiratory crisis that developed into double pneumonia. He spent 38 days there, the longest hospitalization of his 12-year papacy. The Vatican is preparing for the first rituals following Francis's death. The body of the Pope is expected to be transferred within the course of the day to the chapel of the Domus Santa Marta Hotel where he lived, so that the Vatican officials can pay their respect. Domus Santa Marta Hotel.
At a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we have audio from the...
we do?
Yeah, I believe it's a song that they sing.
Okay.
After the Pope passes away.
First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody say his own Kyrie eleison, doing the Vatican rag. Get in line in that processional, step into that small confessional. They're the guy who's got religion'll tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try playing it safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8.
Time to transubstantiate.
So get down upon your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Make a cross on your abdomen when in Rome, do like a Roman. Ave Maria, gee, it's good to see you. Getting ecstatic and sort of dramatic and doing the Vatican right.
Yeah, very good.
That's great.
Comedic stylings of Tom Lehrer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, hilarious stuff, especially on such a sad and morose day.
Well, I mean, he was 88. And no death is funny or whatever, but he lived a good long life.
So did Tom Lehrer before he died.
Yeah, well, how old was he?
I don't know, but he never would have made it.
Yeah, how old would he have been today if he was still alive? He would have never made it. So, yeah, they're going to be doing all that. That's like a long, drawn-out funeral.
It's a big funeral, but then also the process of selecting a new pope is a pretty cumbersome process too. And I don't know who the top vote getters could be. They haven't probably for the best. It's a little bit too soon, but the names are going to start emerging as who's going to be the next guy, who's going to make the next great pope.
They don't have to do what they have all this stuff in place already. They've had this stuff in place. When a normal everyday citizen passes away, You don't have to go. They don't have to go through all that stuff about going to the funeral home, picking out a casket, a pillow, and all the things to make him comfortable in the afterlife. I remember when my wife passed away, I had to go to this funeral home in my town, which is no longer owned by the two people that owned it, and I just wanted to get it over with. I'm like, here's the credit card. Just pay for the whole thing, and I'll worry about that later.
Sure,
kind of thing. These folks didn't have. It was like 15 minutes of trying to get the credit card run through because they didn't have a signal to grab the satellite in order, because it was the hill towns.
Yeah,
I think they were expecting cash, perhaps.
Cash.
Yeah,
in today's society.
And the guy's walking around the funeral parlor and he's holding up the credit card square, because like most funeral homes do.
Right.
And to me, and these people had owned it for like 50 years, and I'm like, did you guys just buy this place?
I'm surprised they didn't do swipe the carbon like they used to back in the day.
Oh yeah, the old days.
Yeah, it wasn't an electronic thing at all. You just swiped it, you got the carbon back.
Well, they had gotten the new technology of the square.
Yeah,
on
well,
the
that's
guy's BlackBerry phone.
Jesus. His bag phone.
Western Mass News has the latest details on the brush fire in Ware from Friday afternoon.
Where?
Ware fire.
Where fire?
There fire. The call for the Belchertown Road fire on Belchertown Road came in on 3 p.m. on Friday, prompting multiple firefighters to respond to the scene. Ware Fire Department said first arriving units had heavy fire conditions spreading rapidly in all directions. Fire officials had to strike a second and third alarm on the fire due to its size and windy conditions. The Mass Department of Fire Service assisted on scene with an incident support vehicle and rehab unit. Rehab?
You just said unit.
No, man, a fire is going to rehab?
No, I think they're rehabilitating the property as opposed to, a bunch of firefighters drinking. I've never heard of such a poppycock.
Well, how long is this fire going to go on? Well, he's only on step 6.
There's at least 12 steps to the fire hydrant.
Right. The fire was contained around 6 p.m. and crews working on the hot spots until 8 p.m. As far as how the brush fire started, the Ware Fire Department said over the weekend it was from a permitted fire that grew quickly out of control. So somebody was allowed to be burning.
Well, it is burning season for some, but you got to know what you're doing out there. You got to have your hoses. You got to have everything.
Yeah.
You can't just walk away from it and expect that everything is going to be fine. And my guess is it's exactly what we've talked about before. Someone, thinks they're done burning. They spray the whole thing over with the hose, not realizing that you got to spray the water and then mix up the ashes so that the water seeps in beyond the surface of the fire.
Yeah.
It's a much longer process to extinguish a fire, even a controlled one.
Well, Smokey always said, if you have a campfire, you drown it with water, then you stir it, then you drown it again to make sure you got all the embers.
Yes.
Beginner, intermediate, and expert canoers, kayakers, and stand-up paddleboarders launched early Saturday morning to complete the 70th running of the Westfield River Wild Water Canoe Race, the longest continuous canoe race in America. This year, there was less drama and more racing than last. Race director Harry Rock said rather than a nearly disastrous 2024, the race is on solid financial footing this year and seeing more people wanting to take part. Also this year, the Army Corps of Engineers added to the challenge of the expert run by adding more than 50% more flow. They opened up the dams.
Really?
And let 50% more water flow. It was raging pretty good when I saw it coming home Saturday.
Well, these canoe races are a real drag when there's no water in the river.
Well, they usually, because the water, it's not that high. Unless you had a big rainstorm, right around that time. The water's not that high in the Westfield River, but then they released the dams. At the Knightville or Littleville Dam, I guess they would have been doing that one. So 50% more. That was like a rapid raging wild water race.
But it was bananas.
They have 100,000 cubic feet per second coming out of the Knightville Dam, but then they got a second additional flow of 600 cubic feet per second from the Littleville Dam. The East Branch looks hot. It's a good level. It's a great level. The higher you are, the better.
Wait a
I mean,
minute.
high. Like,
The water level high, or Westfield high?
Well, it was the day before 420.
I gotcha.
So, yeah,
That's why I'm asking.
East and middle branches of the river meet just downstream from the expert launch at the base of the Knighttville Dam. The additional flow from each of the dams. Basically, what I'm saying is they had a good time.
You could have avoided all of that just by saying fun was had.
They write more details on Mass Live about a Westfield river race than they do about the cause of a brush fire and where, or criminal activity.
You know why? Because people at the race are more willing to offer local media information than police or fire when they're trying to still investigate what just happened.
Well, I think it's a great thing. It brings a lot of people to the hill towns to see what it's all about out there, and economic stuff. People buying things. I don't know how many businesses are benefiting from that, but
I'm sure there's a few. People are leaving and want to grab something to eat, or have some sort of libation to wash down all that hard work.
You want a stale roller dog and a Pabst Blue Ribbon from the local store?
Do I?
Come on in.
I've been waiting for that hot dog all day.
Don't worry about wiping your feet. Nobody does.
It's the other parts of you we have to be worried about.
Local dispensaries were booming yesterday. The Easter fell on 4/20, and of course the last day of Passover. So people were just like getting high and shoving food into their mouth like there was no tomorrow.
Steve, you were a dope smoking reefer zombie for a while, right?
Yeah.
Would it have made a difference to you whether you bought weed on 4/20 or say tax day?
Only for the deals.
Do they really give you big deals?
They do, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
On weed or accessories?
Weed.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
It's a lot cheaper than it used to be. When these dispensaries first opened, they were selling a joint for like $30. Now you can get them for like $5 to $7.
Well, you know why that is, right?
Because so many people are open.
So many people are open. Back in the day when you only had like 2 in the entire state, all of a sudden people would pay anything to get that kind of weed. Now you can't go more than like 25 feet before you're knocking into the next dispensary.
Right? Drivers along the Mass Pike Sunday evening didn't have as much company as they usually do on the road. A busy weekend like Easter often brings hours of stop traffic to the highway, but at the Ludlow Service Plaza, drivers felt like this weekend didn't compare. It was all week. They were like, this is going to be the busiest Easter weekend travel, and it turned out to be nothing. I didn't hit any traffic in the entire 16-hour drive back from South Carolina.
When did you come back?
Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday would have been a good day to hit some traffic.
And Saturday was going through. Well, I told you I avoided the D.C. area.
The Beltway? Oh.
I went up another way to hit, I think it was I-78. We picked up in Harrisburg. Was it Harrisburg?
Could be.
I don't know. Wherever it lands you in Pennsylvania somewhere. You took that away. There was no traffic. I was surprised at how little traffic there was.
It's one of the reasons why like traveling on like Thanksgiving after like the Mayflower Marathon and going out to see my family in the eastern part of the state.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, man, it's after what you just been through, driving in that kind of traffic is absolutely not conducive at all.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
So people were surprised that there wasn't there's nobody here. But of course, this is also a holiday weekend here in Massachusetts too.
True, right?
Patriots Day. A lot of people don't have to go to work the next day, so maybe they weren't traveling because they have an extra day off.
A lot of schools are on vacation this week.
Yeah, lots of schools. I think all of them, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah. Imagine how frustrating it would be to have your property destroyed because of someone reckless who couldn't control their fire. Now imagine if this were the situation. A man in New York admitted to starting a 3-alarm fire last week, which damaged 3 homes and several cars after setting fire to some, quote, intimacy items with a lighter.
Intimacy items?
Yeah. The 37-year-old arsonist is a guy named Harry Torres, and he told the investigators, quote, I started the fire, I was in the backyard at my house, and I lit 2 sex toys on fire. They say one was a rubber vagina.
I don't believe that's how it's pronounced.
Well, for radio purposes, it's vagina.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No one has ever said why he set fire to the toys. Thankfully, no one was injured, but an 87-year-old woman was forced to flee her home. The damage to the 3 properties was extensive. Torres has been charged with arson and reckless endangerment.
You don't think you're supposed to set those things on fire and then use them?
No, you used them before you set them on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what he did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
He must have really hated the toys he bought.
I'm just trying to heat things up. I'm going to set this rubber vagine on fire.
Have you ever set your fire to your rubber vagine?
Have you ever smoked after sex? No, I never looked down there.
Was that like a fleshlight? Did he have a fleshlight that he was burning?
I don't know, man, but if that thing blows up in your hand.
I mean, I can see a controlled burn.
Yeah, but you don't want that thing to get out of hand.
Especially if you're in Staten Island where all the houses are together. That's probably not a good idea.
Probably
you want to
not.
take that out further out to maybe a farmland. Upstate New York. That's upstate New York kind of behavior. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be cloudy with a high of 61. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 74. It's 37 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:52 and Quiet Riot with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be mostly cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 74. Right now in downtown Springfield, it's 37 degrees.
So, while you were on vacation last weekend, not this weekend, last weekend,
Yeah.
it was my dad's birthday.
Oh.
And so, I drove out there.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure he'd be very happy to hear that. Anyway, we decided to go out to dinner, just the two of us.
Yeah.
And, my dad is blind, so he didn't volunteer to drive.
You could take him to a Sizzler and tell him he's at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
What are
We're
you talking
going
about,
to
Dad?
Capital Grill.
Yeah.
You just grab your tray and we'll walk down here for a little bit. But so we went to this restaurant in Attleboro, and he said, "Hey, before we go, let me grab my placard,
Yeah.
so we can get parking."
Ooh, handicap.
Yeah, because he's got that.
Yeah.
Now, I have never ever driven with a placard in my car, so I mean, I know it's not a new thing, but it's like the first time that I ever had to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we go to the restaurant, and looks like the parking lot's full. Pretty popular place in town, and so I go, and my dad says, "Yeah, there should be parking right there in the front." And the only thing that's there,
how does he know?
Is he has no central vision. He can see forms and stuff, colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing but the handicap parking available, and I'm thinking, well, I can't take one of those spaces. That's handicap parking.
Yeah.
Not even completely forgetting that I had the placard. Like in my head, like totally forgot that I had the placard.
Yeah.
And I parked like right into that first spot when I said, "Oh my God, this is fantastic."
Yeah.
What I would do to be disabled. I mean, what a great opportunity. I mean, like this tremendous. This wasn't just good parking. It was the fat spot. It was the first one to the door.
Well, maybe you can aspire to listen. It's not. I don't think it's that hard to get one of those. I think you can go to your doctor and go, "Look, I had these bunions years ago, and they're starting to flare up again. Maybe a little handicap."
I'm between that and those spacious bathrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, a man could really spread out in that one of those things.
The Hawkman said he would you could borrow his anytime you
I
wanted.
want to borrow his placard. He's going to use it. What I'm talking about is having one of my own to use all the time.
So this is I used to love when my mother would come to visit because she would bring the handicap placard with her.
Yeah.
She had bad hips, things like that. So she wasn't able to walk. She had the cane and all that stuff. So, but that was the cool thing. I could park at all those places. Walmart, right up front at the Walmart and grocery store, any of those places. You could park right up front. I was like, ooh, smooth sailing. Here I am. The problem is she lived in Florida. Now, if you go down there, everybody has a handicap placard, so it doesn't even make a difference. Like, everybody's handicapped in Florida.
Yeah, see, but out here, not everybody has
physically
it.
and mentally.
I know.
Yeah.
Not everybody has it. Though I'm thinking, man, if there's a way I could get my hands on one of these things, I'd be like the happiest guy in the world.
Wouldn't you be?
Yes.
Yeah. You need a rascal now. That's what you need.
I don't look at that as a disability. I look at that as an ability to have nice, comfortable parking.
You know, those rascals are getting pretty elaborate now. You get, the bigger wheels on them. You can ride them on the beach now.
I know.
You can do all these things. I saw a bunch of them last week. You could be living high and mighty with your handicap placard and your rascal.
I saw one guy going down Boston Road doing a wheelie on one of those things.
Did you?
He had to keep up with the bicycles.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, man, there's something to be said about,
I'll tell you, it was my first time ever really having to enjoy the spoils of it, and I really enjoyed it.
Now, after enjoying that, is it really a handicap, or is it an advantage to everybody else?
See, that's what they like. They don't want you to know the true secret.
Yeah.
But now I know the secret. I'm thinking, what do I got to do to put myself in that kind of position today?
Well, I can help you out with that if you want.
I don't need help. I mean, I would like to have it done in a natural or in a natural way, or maybe some sort of understanding between me and my doctor who prescribes it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, what a great thing that was.
Well, this place is definitely not ADA compliant.
I would own this place by the end of the week.
We're never able to have people who have disabilities down here to the studio.
This is why we can barely have guests.
Yeah. You want to see ADA compliant? Go to WMAS.
It's loaded with people with problems.
Yeah. That's why it's on one level. You run right in, you run right out.
It's 7:57 at Rock 102.
Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, in Rock 102 management and our parent company decided to honor my very underwhelming achievements by naming a bathroom after me. It was one of the proudest moments of my career. I've done some of my best work in that bathroom and will continue to do so for as long as I'm allowed to stay. Granted, it took me 30 years to get to this point in my career, yet thankfully, I have not let it all go to my head. Now, while a ceremonial bathroom may not seem like much to you, I happen to be honored and grateful, not just because it reflects my accomplishments, but because it's also so practical, and frankly, not every honor is designed to work that way. For example, former UConn sensation and #1 WNBA draft pick Paige Beckers has just received notice that her hometown of Hopkins, Minnesota, population 18,269 people, will be temporarily changing its name on May 16th to Paige Beckers, Minnesota, for just one day. Sure, that seems like quite an honor, but it's only for one day, whereas I'll be leaving a piece of me behind in that ceremonial bathroom for many years to come. Listen, not to downplay the efforts of Paige Beckers' hometown. After all, I understand how much easier it is for people to use the bathroom and think of this radio show. But if I suddenly happen to be a resident of Paige Beckers, Minnesota, I'm going to have to spend the entire day filling out change of address cards not once, but twice. All my Amazon purchases are going to be seen as undeliverable. And if I'm a DoorDash driver, I got to deliver a bunch of burritos to Paige Beckers on a navigation system that hasn't completed the proper updates, then I'm going to be in big trouble. So you can keep your one-day change of address. I'll be busy using the bathroom, which proudly bears my name and allows me to give back to Rock 102 what they've given to me for the last 30 years. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You got questions about Scott's four-step? You need to see Lou at the Ludlow Rockies. Lou ran the landscaping outfit for years. Loves to talk about lawn, food, weed control, anything yard and garden. Good people like Lou and rock-solid service at every Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:12 in Hart with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 73. It's 42 in downtown Springfield. Coming up on May 17th, out at the Whip City Animal Sanctuary, it's going to be Groovin' with Garrett. That is a fundraiser for Garrett Wheeler, who was unfortunately paralyzed in a skiing accident. and he needs a host of adaptive equipment and modifications to his home. And all these folks are getting together. I'm going to be hosting the event.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'll be the biggest celebrity there.
Who backed out?
And then number 2 would be this lady.
Wow, no
yeah,
kidding.
Yeah, how about this lady?
She's in the studio from The Voice, Westfield's very own Madison Curbelo. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. I'm really glad you're volunteering to do this event on May 17th. It's going to be a day of bands and food trucks and all kinds of good stuff. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
What kind of food trucks were available on The Voice? That's what I would like to know. Yeah, did they have anything good?
There was one food truck that was like dumplings that I absolutely was in love with. Every time it would like pull up to set, I was like, it's going to be a good day.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's all right. So we were talking about your experience on The Voice, and we were talking about how, I mean, it's an intense competition. But the difference about The Voice as opposed to, say, like, American Idol, which I don't know if you've heard them, seen that show. Their auditions, the worst of the worst, are always televised because that's part of the fun. But on The Voice, by the time you get on that show, you've been well vetted, and only the best of the best get on that show. So to even be on it's got to be, just like a mind-blowing experience. I mean, tell me about the audition process even to get on that show.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy because I was 18 when I had first tried out for The Voice, and I didn't turn a chair back then. And then I came back a couple years later. They were like, Madison, do you want to give it another go? And I was like, okay, we'll like see what happens. And I did like Zoom interviews before. There was band rehearsals, vocal coaching that was happening down there. It's like a whole process to get us on stage. So once we're there, it's like, okay, this is the comfortable part was actually doing the blind audition, which is crazy to say,
really?
But it was very intense, but very informative, and I feel like I learned a lot from it. 100%.
That's and you said you had the 2 coaches you had were Dan and Shay. What about Reba McEntire? What do you really? How do you really feel about her?
How do I really feel about Reba?
Because I'll tell you how I feel about her.
I have to say, she was like very motherly in like the best way, because I was like away from my parents because I had to do the whole process by myself, and just like looking over and seeing Reba smiling at you will really like do something to your heart. So I wish I could say she was this big diva, but she really was like a big mom.
Right. So she made you clean your room. You had to do your homework. Had to be in bed by a certain time. Couldn't hang out with any of your no good friends.
You could have been her voice coach.
I mean,
that does happen from time to time when the contestants are actually better singers than the judges. I don't know if you've experienced that, if you could point that out to anybody, but it is true. It does happen from time to time.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a better singer than John Legend, but
well, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right for himself. You like that kind of thing, talent and success.
Whatever.
But you are you're doing some touring. You were talking about going out to you're going to Midwest, right?
Yeah, we're going to Ohio, and we're going to Hampton Beach, and then we're doing another Westfield show. That's all happening in June. Every weekend in June is going to be pretty packed, full of a bunch of fun things. We're excited.
So is it you and the other contestants on the show that are part of this thing, or is it?
It's me and my band, actually. It's me and 2 of my brothers and our like adopted brother. we kind of call him. And yeah, it was a band that I formed after the show, and we've just been able to put on a bunch of shows, and we're doing the event on May 17th, which is really exciting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's not, but I'm talking about like the tour as far as the show goes. That you're done with that now,
yeah,
right? So
done
there's
with
no,
that, yeah.
You don't go around with a group. Did you do that? Was there like other contestants that they put you with, like on one of those like showcase shows?
There were talks about it.
Yeah.
That's always like an option to do, but I think because of our season, we're all kind of like spread out doing a bunch of different things. It was a little hard to coordinate, but I know that there's still people getting together to do some like shows together. So it's definitely something that is going to happen in the future for sure.
Well, there's no reason for you to lower your standards, Madison. You just you do what you need to do. If you're going to be on one of those tours, they're going to be hanging on your shoulders and your coattails forever. But you're touring with your brothers, and that's kind of cool. Be kind of like taking like a family road trip to Ohio.
Oh yeah, we used to drive to Florida to go to Disney World, so we're good. It's like 8 hours compared to like a whole day.
Oh, it's going to
We
be a piece
got
of
it.
cake.
We're good.
Piece of cake.
And you're old enough now where you can stand each other on an 8-hour road trip versus when you were probably younger. Listen, I just drove 15 hours back from South Carolina with 2 teenagers.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm surprised
Wow.
you're standing here today.
We're still. Well, I'm still alive. But that's kind of cool that you have the family aspect with it with that too.
100%. We grew up in a very musical family. Like my dad, who also listens to you guys all the time. He's probably listening now. Hi, Dad. But he grew up like always
Hi,
playing
Dad.
music for us. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
He would play like Bob Marley and George Michael, and so we just grew up very musical. And I'm glad that we're able to still do it now as we get older. It's awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool. George Michael. That's
Really?
That's a hell of a road trip.
No kidding.
Going on there.
This is Madison Corbello from The Voice, Westfield's very own, in the studio. Tell me a little bit about. So you grew up in a musical family, and having that, like you said, the exposure to music is really great. But at what point do you realize, hey, I can actually hold a tune here? I mean, at what point do you say, this is something I want to do, and I think I got the talent to do it?
It's funny because my parents are not yes people. So anytime that they would hear me sing, they would like be totally honest about it. And, my mom always told me, she's like, I'm never going to put you on stage for you to fail. Like, I'm always going to tell you. So as soon as my mom told me that I was like an okay singer, I was like, okay, maybe I could actually do this. But, just like going out and like doing gigs at different restaurants and things. And then I would have people go to the same restaurant multiple times to see me. And just in like those little moments of like seeing the like same faces who would come out specifically to hear me sing, just kind of affirmed to me that there was at least a little bit something there for me to go into.
So what were you singing, like the Friendlies of the 99 or
Applebee's?
Applebee's?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to sing at Chili's. I do love me some Chili's. But I was just doing just like little bars.
That baby
like
back rib song, you could have gone right into it.
Come on.
Yeah.
You could have sang 4 or 5 albums worth of music at a Friendlies and still not have gotten your bill for your fisherman jig.
You still wouldn't even gotten a fisherman jig by the time she was done. But you did. So what local places did you start out at doing?
So I did the Crest Room, that's in West Springfield.
Yeah.
I did Mario's in East Long Meadow. I think it's in
Yeah.
Mario's. Yeah,
right down the street.
Yeah, so I did those 2 a lot, like almost like every weekend during the summer, and it's just really fun to now look back. I still get messages from people who saw me there, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe everything that's happened." It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
Did you ever get the snub nose from Dan Kane?
Oh.
Yeah. Whatever,
I
kid.
love Dan.
You're never gonna make it in this business.
I actually recently saw Dan. I did do the like Dan Kane singer thing, and yeah, I like recently saw him and like got to see his like students, and they're just all like bright-eyed, and I was like, you guys could do this. Like it's totally in like the realm of possibility.
They did a Christmas show for the women's prison, and we said it was more like the Scared Straight version of the Dan Kane singers.
You listen here, sister.
Yeah.
You don't want to be out saying Gold King Wenceslas like I do.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
But again, we're happy for you that things are going well, and you went to Berkeley as well. You just finished up Berkeley, right?
Finished up in 2023. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And now you're teaching. Now you're teaching young students. That's got to be an absolute blast to be able to do that, and then to be able to charge them so much more because you were on The Voice.
Oh my goodness! It's
it used
like
to be $30 for an hour. Now it's $300.
$1 million per lesson,
Yeah,
please.
right.
No, it's teaching lessons has been something that I've like always known that I wanted to do. I have always been drawn to like working with kids, and it's nothing feels better than when you see a kid start out really shy but has a great voice and kind of like come into their own. I had a student who recently sang, I think that this past Saturday, she sang the national anthem at the Thunderbirds game. And she had been so shy before. Like last year she tried it and almost like didn't go on. And then this year it was just like a total transformation. She stood out there with like her shoulders open, like super confident. And it was just really awesome to see the growth. So I think that's like the best part of it for me.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up because you've obviously done that a few times for sporting events and things like that. That's like one of the hardest songs to sing.
100%.
Is it because you're trying to remember the lyrics? Or is it more of the pitch and the tone and all that other stuff that goes along with it?
I think for me, it's the lyrics and that big note at the end, "Land of the free."
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh God, it's like coming up. Let me just prepare for it. But and also because it's like everyone knows the words and you don't even think about it until you have to sing it, and then all of a sudden it's like, what is happening? I don't know anything.
Yeah. So
I think more so lyrics than the melody, except for that free note. That always gets people sometimes.
I can imagine. I can't do it. I feel bad, when you see somebody who kind of didn't do well at it, and all the, of course, social media is like the worst. People get online and they start going, oh my God. To be able to even get to a point where somebody picked you to sing that song, you had to have some sort of talent within you to do that. So obviously it's not something for everybody to be able to do. But I give people the credit just for even going out there and doing it, whether or not it didn't work out for you or not. But I'm glad it worked out for you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's been working out so far.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully, knock on wood.
So let's talk about this event on the 17th of May. The what is it called?
It's Groovin' with Garrett.
Yes.
And that's going to be May 17th at the Whip City Animal Sanctuary, your hometown of Westfield. And can you tell us a little bit more about all the bands that are going to be there and all that stuff?
Yeah, so there's going to be myself and 5 other acts that are going to be going on, and it's like there's like a country act. There's my brother's band is actually doing like their own rock set, which is cool. So it's like we have pop, we have rock, just a bunch of music that I think it's going to appeal to like a wide range of people. So it's going to be really exciting.
All right. And again, all the proceeds go to support Garrett Wheeler, who was unfortunately paralyzed in a skiing accident, and he needs some adaptive equipment for his home. So this is we appreciate that you're volunteering your time to do this and help raise some money for a great cause.
Of course, yeah.
Madison, it's a real pleasure to see you. Best of luck and great work.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it. Madison Corbello. It's 8:25 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's 8:28 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Liam Neeson has the full forecast for you.
This week on Baxi's Musical Podcast, my guest is Christian Dryden from the band The Ritualists. They're about to release their 3rd album, which comes out tomorrow, called Too Pure to Cure. Really, really good record, and you'll be able to hear that interview anytime starting today on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, as well as the app. It's all brought to you by Metro, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
Well, first of all, I'm enjoying my Buc-ee's orange sour mints that taste exactly like St. Joseph Children's aspirin. Remember I used to pop those things like they were candy.
They're not.
I know,
it's medicine. It keeps people alive.
Well, then why do they make them taste so good?
I don't know. Same reason X-Lax tastes so chocolatey and delicious.
Well, I'm just saying. Whatever. But last week, I obviously wasn't here, and we didn't get to talk about this. But this Katy Perry going to space.
Yes.
First of all, I think it was fake. Because did you see the video of the capsule being they didn't show it on the world news, but then they showed the web stream of it actually happening. The door opens a little bit, and somebody's saying, no, not yet. And then Jeff Bezos has to come over with this giant tool to make it look like he's unlatching a hatch. The door shouldn't be opening from the inside at all if you have to have a tool to get to it from the outside.
That's a good point. Otherwise, you have a whole bunch of astronauts in a capsule and unable to get out.
I'm starting to think that maybe this whole thing was staged.
You know, Steve, there are some people that will tell you that the moon landing was staged. I'm not one of those people that's buying into that crazy crap. But I have a hard time thinking of like Katy Perry and Gayle King as astronauts.
But the moon landing, that's something that is obviously, that's a theory because nobody really knows. It's all speculation and people, trying to say, this was filmed on a movie set, whatever. You actually saw the video of this where the door is opening. And then they're like, no. Like that wasn't supposed to happen.
No,
Ben.
we got to get the camera shot right.
We need to get Jeff Bezos over here to open it up with a thing. It's like, did that even really happen?
Who knows, man? I don't know. All I know is, like when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon, allegedly, that was really cool. I mean, that was real news. When Katy Perry's sitting there waiting for liftoff, and checks her makeup before they go, I don't know. I just to me it's like what else can you show me? There must be something else that's more newsworthy.
I really enjoy when somebody does something, and they're like, oh. And Gayle King was on it too.
Yeah, right.
What?
Oprah wouldn't do it, but Gayle King would do it in a heartbeat.
I see. This is why I don't think that it even happened. Gayle King is too old to be going up into space.
I don't know. William Shatner did it not that long ago. A couple years ago.
Did it. Maybe he didn't even do it either.
I love the meme. I don't even know if it was a fake one. It may have been a fake meme. I don't know. But William Shatner's on the rocket, and he's about to go up, and he holds a card that said "Suck it, Picard." I think that was funny.
Right. But again, it's an entertainment thing.
Yeah, right. Here, I didn't even know what the purpose of this was.
It was somebody to waste $11 million to go up in space.
Listen, if someone gave me $1 million to spend, trip to space would not be my first choice.
That's the last place I want to go. I'm sure it's some little kid's dream out there going, I want to be an astronaut and go to space someday. Mine? No, I don't want to go to space.
Listen, I don't want to leave my couch to go to Bacon and Brews last week, but I did it because it was my obligation.
I had a hard enough time on a 15-hour car ride down to South Carolina. It'd take me an 11-minute ride up into space for $11 million?
Please.
No, thank you.
It's 8:32 on Rock 102.
Here's your
8:35 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Gary Rome Hyundai. Technicians get up to a $5,000 sign-on bonus right now. Learn more at GaryRomeHyundai.com/family. His local radio icon, Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Pope Francis, history's first Latin American pontiff who charmed the world with his humility and concern for the poor, has died. He was 88 years old. Bells tolled in church towers across Rome after the announcement, which was read out by Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Vatican Camerlengo. What's a Camerlengo?
I believe it was...
Camerlengo?
I believe it was released by Oldsmobile back in the 80s.
I'm trying to think what the name of that car is that you're thinking of. Oh, he's the cardinal who holds a crucial role during the Sede Vacante.
And the guy in charge of this name is Kevin?
I was thinking that, too.
Would you feel good about a pope named Pope Kevin?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's...
like Pope Gary.
I'm sure he's not the pope, but he's the guy that, he reads out.
Yeah.
He's the cardinal.
By the way, no offense to anyone named Kevin or Gary, including Gary Rome Nissan. But just seems like an odd name for a pope.
Yeah, I would think like Luigi or Mario.
Something more...
Yeah, something more Italian.
Right.
Yeah, because you're over when in Rome.
Like Pope John, Paul, George, and Ringo. That would be a good name.
Yeah, those are good ones too. He said at 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the home of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and of this church, Kevin said. It's all Kevin. Kevin did it.
All right, I believe him.
If you were doing that, what if it was Cardinal Mike? Cardinal Mike Bax and Nagle.
I would like to think you could do better than that.
At 7:30, at 6:35, at 7:35, at 8:30, at 8, you'd be screwing up the time. You'd be a horrible doctor, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Time of death, 7:30. No, wait, it's 6:10.
I would never do that. There are lots of reasons I wouldn't be a good doctor.
Francis entered Gemelli Hospital on Valentine's Day for a respiratory crisis that developed into double pneumonia, and at 38 days became the longest hospitalization of his papacy. Part of his right lung was removed in the late 1950s after a bout of pneumonia, and he suffered from chronic lung disease. He emerged on Easter Sunday, his last public appearance a day before his death, to bless thousands of people in St. Peter's Square, drawing wild cheers and applause. The death now sets off a weeks-long process of allowing the faithful to pay their final respects for Vatican officials in the Santa Marta Chapel and then in St. Peter's for the general public, followed by a funeral and a conclave to elect new pope. What do they serve, though, at the after party?
That's a good question. I don't. I have no idea. Cruceritos, maybe.
Eucharitos.
Eucharitos,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Ranch flavored Eucharists.
You know, in this very solemn time, Steve, I wonder if perhaps we might want to be very careful of the the thunderbolts, which may come
could be
crashing
happening
into this building.
On Thursday, Springfield city officials gathered to discuss more illegal dumping in the city, this time identifying a repeat offender. Somebody's dumping all over the city. The most recent offender caught by one of the city's cameras dumping over 1.5 tons of garbage on Moxon Street in Indian Orchard. That's a lot of garbage.
That's a lot of garbage.
And they show the video. This is what Moxon Street looked like after Ludlow resident Elizabeth Botello allegedly used her pickup truck to dump 1.52 tons of trash up and down the street on 2 different days. It's absolutely despicable and disgusting, said Mayor Dom. So far, a criminal complaint has been filed against Botello for illegal dumping. That fine now $500. In order for the city to clear the road for traffic, the trash had to be recollected and distributed over the course of 3 hours, costing the city around $1,500.
Why is it so difficult to make arrangements with the city to take care of whatever you're dumping? Why can't you do that?
I have no idea.
What are you going to dump it on Moxon Street?
It is, she dumps stuff all over. Like a trail of it. You couldn't have just dumped it in one place? I mean, if you're going to be a piggy trash dumper anyway?
You know, I mean, not for nothing. And I don't mean to suggest that this is an option. But Moxon Street is a street in Indian Orchard. You are 4 to 5 blocks away from the river.
Even down.
Now, I'm not saying that the Chicopee River is the best place to dump stuff, but it's there.
Well, at least it would wash it away over into Wilbraham.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Well, there you go.
Mayor Dom explaining to anyone who might be trying to discard trash or furniture, the city has resources available to avoid using neighborhoods and parks for dumping.
This is what I'm saying. They got the bulk trash pickup. If you can make arrangements.
Oofa, $8. That's how much it would cost you. I think he said oofa.
Yeah, as opposed to like a $500 fine for all that illegal dumping.
Make the phone call. Get the sticker. We'll come to your house. We'll pick it up. You could do that whole Homer Simpson thing with the garbage man. The garbage man can. Who can take your trash out? Pick it up for you.
The garbage man can.
Take it out of the thing and do the twisty thing you do. As for what's happening with Marble Street dumping site in the south end of Springfield, the mayor hopes to get that project moving forward soon, starting on May 5th. But stop being a pig. Really.
That's really what this is all about. Someone who either doesn't want to pay the $8 sticker or someone who just wants to be a pig. This is a pig.
Yeah. Speaking of pigs, a woman was handed a slew of charges after she allegedly cursed at employees and peed in several spots around the Walmart in Hadley.
Honey, I had to go. I had no choice.
My bladder was flaring up. I couldn't get it. I couldn't stick around. Watch out for falling prices and slippery floors.
Over the years, I've developed kind of a peanut bladder.
Authorities say this all happened on Wednesday when police were called about a guest refusing to leave and swearing at staff. Employees say they were asking her to leave because she had peed multiple times throughout the store.
I can't help it. It just comes right out of me.
Then Friday morning, the woman returned and tried to hit an employee when she was asked to leave. She identified herself as 38-year-old Yasha McDonald of Rockland.
Rockland?
You're from Rockland? You're coming all the way to Hadley? Maybe that's why she had to pee.
Yeah, but that's why they have rest stops.
Officers later realized she had an active arrest warrant for assault and battery of a police officer. She's now facing trespassing.
Really,
Disorderly conduct.
Trespassing all over Hampshire County.
Ma'am, you're charged with trespassing all over here, all over the Walmart in Hadley, and assault and battery charges. I told you the story, and I know we got a guest coming in, but I told you the story about how Hadley Walmart is seemingly a very clean store. It doesn't seem to be, it's not like a Chicopee Walmart where you'd expect this kind of thing. Between the seagulls picking at the meat and the God knows what else is going on in that place. But the guy, I remember going I had to go to the bathroom the one time. I was up in Hadley for one of my kids' games, and I ducked into the Walmart because the bathrooms are right at the front, and somebody had left a giant surprise in the men's urinal.
In the urinal.
And
that kind of surprise is not meant to be in a urinal.
Because that doesn't flush. It just flushes liquid. It doesn't flush solids. And when I had walked out to the hallway and alerted an employee, I said, dude, somebody took a Duke in the urinal. And he goes, again? That's my favorite Hadley Walmart story. Just the emphasis on the again, as if this is like a regular occurrence at the Hadley Walmart.
When the Walmart becomes the waffle stop house.
Yeah. Stomping at the Savoy. That's what we're doing. Again? Yeah, this lady was like peeing all over the store. Again? Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be cloudy with a high of 61 tomorrow. Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 73. It's 44 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Greetings, Boomed.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:51. And Van Halen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Going to see the Italian Bon Jovi this week?
Don Jovi. Yes.
Way, yo.
Coming to 52 Sumner Thursday night in the studio to talk about it is Angela Park and Dan McClellan. Good to see you guys again.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you. Oh, congratulations. I saw the plaque on the bathroom.
Oh, you saw the dedicated bathroom. Yeah.
Yes. It's a big day for you.
I'm going to tell you something. I've said this before. I said it earlier today. Some of my best work has been done on that room.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and when I leave this place, I'll leave a little bit of me behind. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
nice.
This place will be long gone by the time you're gone. So, 52 Sumner Avenue, the performing arts, I guess you could call it Mecca now, I would say.
Mecca. Yeah, we got a lot going on.
In Springfield. A lot going on there. You were in here a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about the Heart, which got rescheduled, by the way.
It did.
Right?
She had laryngitis, which was good. So.
Oh, that's no excuse not to sing.
We gave her the pass.
Yeah, we gave her a pass.
Feeling
She's
nice
coming
that
in
day.
October.
But she'll be back and she'll knock it out of the park, right?
Yep, she'll be in October. We appreciate it when talent decides that they're not feeling good and we should put it off. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine so.
I mean, some people say you got a lot of nerve, but on the other hand, it's better to have the show be done correctly
Absolutely.
than have the artist struggling to get through the first song.
That's right.
But you
Right
got these series of cover bands. You had Chicago Total Access at the beginning of the month, and last week you had Vintage Skinnerd. And this week, tell us about Don Jovi.
Yeah, Thursday night. We got Don Jovi coming into town. They're based out of New York and New Jersey. Appropriate location for a Bon Jovi tribute band. And a lot of touring musicians, people that have done a lot of studio work with artists you'd remember and things like that. The lead singer, I think he sings for, who sings Black Betty?
Ram Jam.
Ram Jam. I think he sang with them or whatever since like the 90s and things like that. So, they're not just, a couple of guys I know that play in the garage or whatever. They should do a real good job.
Yeah, I mean, Don Jovi on the surface does sound like a mafioso cover band of Bon Jovi. Somebody's going to wind up with a Richie Sambora head in their bed.
Right. The lead singer's first name is Don. So I'm assuming that's where they took it from.
Man of my position could not be made to look ridiculous.
Yeah. Give him an offer he can't refuse. Yeah.
Everybody should feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is a cool series of stuff that you got going on there, and the concerts are going well. They're pretty popular too, right?
Yeah, we're real excited. We got a nice sponsorship and partnership with New Valley Bank and Trust, who is a presenting sponsor for our Rock Rewind series. And they've been going well. A lot of people, a lot of first-timers, so it's great. We'll holler out there who's first time here, and, so it's nice. Get people into Springfield, get people into the venue, get them out to the restaurants, and get this place going again.
One of the last time you were here, we talked about some of the other things that are coming up on the schedule, and one of the things that we talked about is, and there's actually people in this building that are actually very excited for the second annual Pioneer Valley Ska Festival, which sounds like an absolute blast. I mean, that's and if people don't know much about ska music, go ahead and look it up. It's absolutely fun. But that's this is the second. Did you guys do this at 52 Summer last year?
No,
we did not.
Nope.
So this is a new venue even for them.
It is.
Nice.
2 stages we're having it on. We have 2 stages in the building, so they're going to utilize both stages. It's going to be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun.
I believe it's 29 bands over 2 days.
Oh,
so
my
they'll
gosh.
start at like Friday at 4 and then close up, at 11 or so, and then it starts again at noontime the next day. And it should be, they're coming from Florida, all different bands from all different places. So if your listeners want to tune in and listen to, think of Mighty Mighty Bosstones and that kind of stuff, that type of music, super cool.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things is that you have such diversity of these bands coming through town. It's live music. Yep. You're not paying hundreds of dollars to go out to Mansfield or down to the Meadows or whatever like that. It's local. And you can still have a great time without even driving that far.
And that's really why we started this. Our mission is to keep things pretty low cost and, open it up so everyone can enjoy the arts. Yeah. So when we bring these talent, the talent in, we work really hard on getting sponsorships and different things like this to keep the cost low.
This is Angela Park and Dan McClellick from 52 Summer. One of the things that is absolutely true of this area, and it has turned even more true over the last couple of years, is a sorry number of venues for live music. I mean, there are some that are there of varying sizes, but when you have something that's in your neighborhood and you're bringing in great acts, like even last year when you brought Kingfish in, it's like, how did you even do that? But it's like this is exactly the kind of venue that the Springfield area has been screaming for a good long time, to bring live music back to a venue that looks great, sounds great, and is bringing great stuff in.
Yeah, we're real excited. We work really hard on getting that and creating an event space that's unique, and just offering things is unique nowadays in this area. But,
right.
We just had Dewey's that announced that they're closing down, which is unfortunate, for the Jazz, but we're continuously making improvements. We just we brought our last batch of lights that were off the floor up and put those up in the air. So everything's hanging now between the speakers and the lighting, and we're super excited how it's been received by the neighborhood, by the patrons of the of 91 quarter, 90 quarter. People are coming in from Eastern Mass, Rhode Island. We've had all different types of people coming in. So it's been rewarding. So.
If you really want to get this place off the ground, team up with Eric Shore. I'm sure he could bring in some business for you.
Or maybe you don't. Maybe there's other things to do.
I think we're good.
Oh, you want to stay, sir? Oh, you want to stay open? Okay,
we were confused there for a minute there.
No.
But yeah, Don Jovi on Thursday night, right?
Thursday night, we do have a special coupon code for all your listeners. Rock 102 is the coupon code, and they get $10 off of their ticket.
Oh, cool!
So
that's awesome.
They use that, and they can through Eventbrite. All the ticketing's on Eventbrite, and we're all priced. There's no fees with our tickets either. It's all full price in. We're all in.
Now, can you imagine that? A concert venue that's not picking your pocket to get there. That's awesome.
Yeah, all the processing fees, everything. So you can find it through our Facebook and Instagram, all kinds of web links to the Eventbrite page.
This is what I'm talking about. You're not spending hundreds of dollars to go out and sit on the lawn a mile away from a band. You can see it right here at 52 Summer.
Yeah, and there's not a bad seat in the house.
Right.
Awesome.
And a cash bar.
And a
oh,
cash
There you
bar.
go.
Yeah, there you go.
We need
All
more.
right. There you have
And
it.
they're not $12 a drink either.
No, they
Yeah,
are not.
yeah.
We, again, with all our beers and everything, we keep them really start at $7. So
There you go.
That's
Can't
perfect.
beat that.
We happen to have a pair of tickets to a Thursday night show. Don Jovi, 10th caller right now, 293-1021. Good luck to you. Those tickets will be yours. Guys, it's great to see you.
nice to see you too.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Angela Park, Dan McClellick from 52 Sumner, again, right there on 52 Sumner Avenue in Springfield.
That's right.
I want to just point that out for those of you that had no idea the connection.
Not the Bing.
Not the Bing.
Not
It's
the
not
Bing.
Trinity.
Right. Something totally different. Great to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
It's just about 9 o'clock on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 9:10. And Billy Squire with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Going to be mostly cloudy today with a high of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 73. It's 44 in downtown Springfield. Are you ready for some fun facts, Bax?
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads, the backs of life.
What's your favorite fun fact for a Monday? Are you ready for number one?
Yeah, number one.
If you're a nervous flyer, this won't help. The Savannah Hilton Head International Airport in Georgia has... Steve, you were just there on vacation.
Steve, weren't you just there on vacation?
I was. Well, maybe not at the airport, but nearby.
Right.
Has 2 graves embedded in the runway. The 2 other graves are next to it. The land was previously a private family cemetery.
I had no idea.
One day there'll be a grave embedded in the Milwaukee Mitchell Airport of a career.
Won't be mine.
No. Number two. The first ever comic book convention was in New York in 1964, and the very person to buy a ticket was 16-year-old George R.R. Martin, the author of the Game of Thrones book.
Is that a fact? Man, you think you know a guy.
Number three. Cher has the record for the longest amount of time between her first and last number one hits. I Got You, Babe was number one in August of 1965 and Believe was number 133 and a half years later in April of 1999.
Wow. Fascinating.
But really, I Got You was with Sonny Bono, so she really can't say it was her number one hit.
They shared in the spoils together.
Number four.
Meerkats.
We don't do enough talking about meerkats.
You know, I got a buddy that likes meerkats.
I got a buddy who's into meerkat. Are more likely to kill each other than any other mammals. Almost 20% of meerkats are killed by members of the same species.
And here I was thinking they were cute and adorable little animals.
There you go. You were wrong.
I was wrong.
Number five. More nickels were made in 1964 than in any other year. People were hoarding them because they mistakenly thought they were made of silver, so the U.S. Mint increased production. About 3 billion nickels wound up being made.
Wow, that's a fascinating little tidbit of information.
Aren't you glad we did this bit?
Oh, you have no idea.
More fun facts tomorrow here on The Bax of Life.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads, the backs of life.
It's 9:13 on Rock 102.
You hear that? It's back. The Rock